Okay, so why are we even bothering? Why do I bother? If everyone is that, I am that, you are that, this is that, that's that, everything is that. Why are we bothering? Why did I bother? I can only speak for myself. The reason I bothered with all this non-duality stuff was because there seemed to be a sense of limitation, lack, suffering, something's wrong. And that's really the context in which I live my life. There is something wrong. I am, Charlie Hayes said very accurately, that who I am for myself is that there's something wrong. And that's very accurate. Yeah. I had to say, yeah, that's true. So, the question would be who is the self that perceives something's wrong? Where is it? One pointer that seemed to be potent is I as opposed to what? Me as opposed to what? What other? If I claim I, what is the other that that seems to come into being with this I? So if there's a claim of separation, it implies a subject and an object. So me, the subject, and the object of the world, maybe. So we've heard it all before, right? There's only oneness. You are that, maybe they say, or whatever they say. They, you know, the ones who know. And there's no one who knows. There's no one that needs to know because there's only oneness anyway. But if that's not apparent, then the investigation is called for. It is prudent to investigate the claims. It can be investigated even though there is no self to do the investigation, which is the paradox that I wanted to argue against instead of sort of look into. I was very good at debating pointers in my head or with teachers or whatever. I was very good at avoiding the message. But after a while, the suffering became so apparent that it was, well, why don't I just look? Why don't I just actually do what they were suggesting and just look and not have to continually burden myself with the suffering? Because suffering is very, I don't want to say it's real or it's unreal, but it feels as though it's experientially so. It felt as though I was suffering. And that was experienced deeply. It wasn't just an idea or a passing notion. There was a felt sense that there was something wrong, and there was a story about something wrong, and there was acting as though something was wrong. So you could say, for all intents and purposes, it was real in that sense. But even with all that, there was still the changeless, the one constant in which all of that was perceived, and that was never affected the whole time. And that is what we are. That is the love that we are right now. Not the love that we'll find once we do this program, or the love that may come around in the next relationship, or the love that whatever, that God will rain down from the heavens when I'm worthy of it. It's this. It is what's happening right now and now. So it's just this. Anything that in the field of perception is that. And the field of perception is that. It's just simply this. And investigation is prudent if that's not apparent. And if it's not apparent, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of investigating. So there's no failures in this. There's no one who's failing at this non-duality thing. And there's no one who's succeeded at it either. See, this is transcendent to all of these opposites that we're so used to. I'm a failure, I'm a success, I did it, I didn't do it, I should have, I shouldn't have. See, all of these things that just keep the mind in this endless preoccupation with the play of opposites in language. And, the mind is fine, there's no mind really, but thinking is fine. Thought happening. There's nothing wrong with any of it, but there's no one doing it. You see, the trouble is always from this imagined reference point, a limited reference point called me, who could potentially die and who is sort of at the mercy of events and is in a state of sort of fear and lack. And it's just a matter of investigating it. Investigate it in any way that seems to be helpful, you could say, in any way that seems to be potent. You know, who am I is a common question, but maybe just looking within, or looking without even, looking directly and intimately at anything. Anything can reveal this basic awareness, you know, anything at all, because everything is that already. So the mind always labels objects, but even looking into the label maker, you know, trying to find that label, the labeler, is there one in there? And find what thought is all about. What are thoughts? You know, not by thinking about thoughts, but by looking into them, into the nature of them, or emotions, right? Any of these phenomena that seem to be troublesome, traced back, or seem to be the source somehow. The body, you know, find the body. What's real about the body, and you know, investigating the body directly, not in a analytical way, but in a very direct experiential way. A fellow named Rupert Spira, he talks about that, the like going deeply into the experience, because for me during the search, I was never actually in my experience, so to speak. I was always in concepts, and the experience was always sort of secondary to the important concepts. But concepts are experienced. So there's really no way around, there's no way out of this. There's no way in or out of this, and there's no way to avoid it. There's no way to avoid this in any way. It is you. This is where words break down. I'm tempted to just stop talking, but you know, it's of no consequence really, because it's all that. So you know, any object, so you have like a water bottle, you know, it's just looking at something without needing to know what it is. It's like, wow, I really don't know what this is. You know, it's just an empty bottle. But I mean, everything is somehow a manifestation of this awareness. You know, without awareness, this couldn't be. It's at the space. You know, there's space in which things appear and disappear and everything. So it's just simple. It's simply this changeless, spaceless awareness. And the investigation is also that, appearing as investigation. So Charlie Hayes points it out very well in getting very curious in this investigation about what this all is. Not what it means in terms of concepts, but what it is in directness and intimacy. So, you know, in intimacy, everything is somehow very close. But through a veil of concepts, everything is very alien and foreign, and I'm sort of this central thing who's kind of awkward and very vulnerable. But in this intimacy, which is what is anyway, you know, everything is of one source, even those other people that I hated or whatever. You know, and it's very simple. The investigation is simple. The mind resists. But who resists? You know, who am I that would resist this? Who am I that's afraid of this? Who am I that wants out? Who am I that is worried about death? Any of these notions that come up, well, who? Who do they apply for? Who's the one in the middle of it? You know, there's no need to make it into this long, strenuous thing. It's just a simple investigation, and nothing needs to change in terms of, you know, day-to-day life. All the spiritualized nonsense can just fly out the window right now. There's no need for any of it. It's just, who am I right now? Or what am I? Whatever. The words can just be cast away because they're just very feeble in comparison to the actuality of what is. What is just colossal. Words are just kind of little emanations of what is, but they can't do anything with it. But anyway, thanks so much for listening. Feel free to email, and I love you.